With rising interest rates and a lagging real estate market, home sellers are becoming accidental landlords as their properties don't sell. And also, in Los Angeles, more property owners are becoming landlords after the LA mansion tax passed. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's going over the whole, accidental landlord thing, where basically people become landlords when they're having difficulty selling the properties that they either used to live in or that they owned and used it maybe for short-term rental or for some other purpose, right? So people are becoming landlords when they didn't want to be landlords. Okay, they are facing a tough real estate market right now, and it's tough for everybody because with the high interest rates people don't want to buy houses. At least they don't want to buy them for the amount that they are selling them for right now. And that's a big problem. That's a really big problem. And people could end up upside down if they bought at the top of the market. And now, with interest rates increased so much, guess what? People don't want to pay as much for those same homes that were selling for much more just a couple of years ago. So, yeah, this is, it's one of those nightmare scenarios for those people who bought at the top of the market. So, what's the solution to this? Well, obviously, you hold on to the property, you try to wait it out, and you rent it out until the market changes. That's what a lot of people are thinking, at least. And you know, it's going to work out for some people. It's not going to work out for others. It really depends on a number of factors. Okay, are you able to get enough money in rental income to be able to cover all of your expenses? And that's the main thing right there. A lot of people, they don't know the math. They think, oh well, the only expense for a landlord is the the property, the mortgage, insurance, taxes, and that's it. And they don't think about maintenance. They don't think about major repairs or renovations that might be necessary. They don't think about utilities, etc. Right? So that's why I say there's a lot more into being a landlord than just making that mortgage payment. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, and leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. So for the people who are watching this video, are you an accidental landlord? Okay. I'm curious if you became a landlord by turning the property that you used to live in into a rental for whatever reason, be it for just wanting to hold on to that property, or maybe you couldn't sell it for the amount that you wanted to sell it for. I'm just curious if the people watching this video are accidental landlords. Now, I do have a second article in here, and it's going over the whole LA mansion tax thing and how these multi-million dollar properties are becoming rentals kind of in the same manner, where these property owners, they're not able to sell these properties because of the extremely high transfer tax that Los Angeles put on them. And so now they're just turning them into rentals. So it's kind of the same topic. It's just with much bigger numbers, hundreds, tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. But anyway, let's get into this first article, and I'll get the topic rolling. Okay, this article is coming from Zillow.com, and it says 1 in 5 prospective sellers are considering becoming landlords. All right, let's see what it says. In September of 2023, a survey from Zillow Group Population Science found that about 1 in 5, 21%, of homeowners with moving plans are considering renting out their home after they move instead of selling. Housing affordability remains low for both new and seasoned buyers. With interest rates above 7% and persistently high housing prices, housing affordability remains low for both new and seasoned buyers. Zillow's 2023 Consumer Housing Trends Report found that about half of mortgage buyers reported putting down less than 20% on the home they purchased, and about a third put down less than 10%. With a 10% down payment, a new home buyer making the median household income and buying the typical U.S. home in August would have spent almost 40% of their income on their mortgage payments. Like when I bought the house that I'm in right now, recording this video, we put 10% down, okay? And the interest rates were sub 3% at that time. I believe with this home, I got it at 2.75%. So, my payment is under $3,000 a month for a $500,000 house. Now, if I was to buy the same house right now, we're talking about a mortgage payment that would be $1,000 a month higher. I'm just doing a rough estimate. I don't. It's around. I did the math before, and I believe it was around $1,000 a month higher for the exact same price home, just with the higher mortgage rates. And so you can see exactly why we won't be moving anytime soon. I never planned on moving. I planned on staying in this home for the long term. It's got everything we need. But, imagine those people who need to move. They need to buy a new home. They're going to end up with something much, much less expensive. Like I probably would have to cut 100 to $150,000 off of our budget in order to afford a home right now. And that would really, really suck, especially if I was moving to a much more expensive market than Omaha. That's one of the things that the problem is, if I wanted to move or I needed to move, we would end up with much less than what we have right now. And that's the reason why a lot of people are just staying still. That's why people are having trouble selling their homes. And so the landlords out there are going to say to themselves, okay, what's the best option for me? We can try to wait it out. If we wait 5, 10 years and then sell, then maybe we'll be able to make up, the lower value of the home will be able to come back up, and then we'll be able to, not end up upside down. Okay. And it's completely understandable. So they become a landlord. And the problem is that a lot of the times it's in horrible places to be a landlord. Okay. You have property owners in places like Los Angeles, and they suddenly rent out their house, and then they get thrown into this mess, a mess, created by people with good intentions, right? But it makes it darn near impossible to evict tenants. You can't even raise the rent to cover your expenses. And, just there's so many tenant protections, so many rules and regulations you have to follow. So becoming an accidental landlord in the wrong place would be an absolute nightmare. Okay. But talking about Los Angeles, the second article that I have, it's actually coming out of Los Angeles, right? And it's about the mansion tax. And I did a couple of videos on the mansion tax. Basically, properties over $5 million have to pay this new very, very high transfer tax, right? And the transfer tax is so high, in fact, that what it did was it stifled the entire luxury real estate market. And that's ridiculous. People are just saying, "Hey, I'm just not going to buy in the city. I'm not going to buy in the city." And so the people who own those properties, being unable to sell them for what they paid for them, they're like, "Hey, we got to rent these things out." So they are becoming accidental landlords as well. And so this article is coming from finance.yahoo.com, and it says California landlords are charging $150,000 per month for some properties. I feel like everybody's in panic mode right now. Yeah, they're going to be in panic mode for a while, because unless the market makes a huge change, and the only way the market's going to make a huge change is if they drop those interest rates, and they're going to have to be cut by half, in my opinion. Okay, if they're over 7% right now, they're going to have to go back down to about 4% in order for these mansions to sell. But anyway, let's see what the article says. Los Angeles mansion owners, once keen on selling their grand properties, are now grappling with a market that's less favorable for sales. The trend is particularly evident in the city's most opulent areas, where the challenges are twofold: a new tax on luxury sales and a turbulent entertainment industry. The mansion tax, officially known as Measure ULA, which went into effect on April 1st, imposes a significant cost on the sale of high value properties. Homes selling for over $5 million now have an additional 4% tax, and those above $10 million incur a 5.5% tax. This measure, aimed at funding affordable housing and homelessness prevention, has added a layer of complexity for those looking to sell luxury properties. Yeah, so the people selling, right? It doesn't even matter if you're not going to even make money on the sale. If you're selling at a loss, you still have to pay this transfer tax. So let's say you bought a property for $12 million a few years ago, right? And now this year you're trying to sell it for $10 million. So you're already taking a $2 million loss, right? But then you have to pay this 5.5% transfer tax on top of that. So you have to pay $550,000 on top of that. I mean, give me a break, okay? Did I do the math right on that? Because that seems like a lot of money. $550,000 in addition. Wow. It's just crazy to me that they think that this sort of tax was going to be good somehow for the city, or that these super wealthy people who buy these properties, they weren't going to try to figure out some way around it. And, the main thing is, a lot of people are going to say, I'm just not going to buy within LA. I'm not going to buy within LA because the prices are, the market is messed up there, and I won't be able to sell my property and make a profit. Okay, a lot of the people who would normally sell, now they're going to rent these properties out, and you know what? That might end up being a better thing anyway. Okay, because in the end, if it takes 5 or 10 years and they realize that this tax doesn't work out, then they might repeal it. And that way, those property owners who held on, they might be able to say, okay, well, we didn't end up paying that tax. We ended up, making plenty of money on rental income. Everything turned out well. So the only problem is, like I said before, you still have to face the same exact rules and regulations that all of the other landlords within a place like LA have to face. Okay, and that is that they have extremely strong tenant protections. They have statewide rent control. They have all this stuff that makes being a landlord not worth it, in my opinion, and really more of a nightmare than you could imagine. So yeah, it seems like to me, a lot of people are becoming accidental landlords lately, and it has to do with the market being so weak right now. But man, let me tell you what, okay? We need interest rates to go back down. I mean, I don't know what, like, I think if interest rates were around 5%, the market would be pretty normalized. Okay, like we're so used to, we lived in a world where interest rates were super low for so long, and I know like people older than me, they'll be like, oh yeah, but back in the early 1980s, the interest rates were really high back then. Well, listen, man, I'm only 45, okay, or 44. I'm sorry, I'm 44, and yeah, don't laugh at me because my birthday is on the 21st and this video should be coming out on the 20th, so my birthday is tomorrow. And I'm forgetting how old I am. But anyway, yeah, interesting article. I'll put links to both of these articles down in the description below.